What's up everyone? AJ here on Day Trader Boom or Bust. We're back from the long weekend. I hope you had a great one. Mine was awesome. I took time to rest, relax, spend time with family, and just as important, I took the time to reflect back on what was a really challenging trading month in August. And I think the most important thing that I did was, after reflecting, I allowed myself to move past it. And I'm coming into the new month, the new week, with a clear mind, with a clear slate. So let's get into the recap and see how we started it all off. This is today's watch list. I post this every day between 9 and 9:15 a.m. on my Twitter. If you want to make sure to catch that every morning, make sure to give me a follow at AJ Tabayan. And today I had AAPL, Baba, Space, and Mara, all based off of the daily charts on the primary. And on the secondary list, I had Space, Neo, Tilray, Roku, and all this continuation plays. And then I also had Boeing, although it didn't look great in the pre-market. I had that on there because there was some news that had come out as catalyst for them. So as you can see, today's recap is probably going to be brief, but it was a really good one. As you can see here on the trade journal, I only took 2 trades today. I managed 100% win rate. This is almost kind of like a one and done, but 2 separate trades, and I'll explain what that means. But yeah, so let's take a look at it. As you can see, I traded Baba, and let's jump into the 1 minute here. And this was a 1 minute ORB that worked out, and I continued to take advantage of the trend. And when I say that, my trade book strategy is generally one where it's an all in and an all out for a 2R gain on pretty much every trade book strategy that I have, instead of partialing throughout the way. But I also found that I was missing, on some of my best winning trades, I was missing the bulk of the move, and I really wanted to see if there was a way that I could take advantage of that. I also came into this week wanting to make sure that I was very picky, I guess you could say, with the trades that I took. I have a bit of a saying that when I'm trading well really resonates with me, and that's not to take a trade unless I'm sure it's going to work. Now, let's be clear, nobody, and particularly, especially myself, is ever 100% sure a trade is going to work. But when I say that, it means that I have the highest confidence level that this trade book play, after analyzing everything that I look at, whether it's the level 2, the candle pattern, the levels, or all of the above, are all working in my favor. And and I feel extremely confident about the trade going in my direction. I am always aware that the market could just simply decide to negate all of that analysis and go against me, but as long as I only enter trades where I feel I am sure it's going to work, then I never feel bad about the outcome. So here, this was one of those times where you can see the first candle here, I know it's right on the edge, is a bit of a doji. This is the top of it, and this is the bottom of that doji. So as you know, most of my first play of the day is usually a 1 minute ORB. And in this case, I really waited for the price action to kind of reveal, I guess, a bit based on what the level 2 was saying and what the actual price action was doing, to reveal which direction it was going to go. And I felt really strongly that this was pretty weak after it failed and wicked off of this. This is the, what is this? I guess that would be the 200 SMA, and then the 100 SMA over here, and the 50 SMA. So, and this dark line is the opening price. So you can see when it pushed below that, I didn't quite wait for the bottom of the first 1 minute candle wick. I set my stop loss. Let me just clear that all there. I set my stop loss up here above the opening price, and then I went short right over here when it looked like it was ready to go. And as you can see, it immediately went down in my direction. And although it threw this kind of doji or hammer candle, it definitely still looked weak. Never ever really even came back to test my my break even, let alone my stop loss, which was up here, and quickly came down and hit my 2-hour profit target. So the first trade, although I mentioned it at the beginning that I was going to try and take advantage of trends, I still want to make sure I lock in those profits. So with the first trade, I still played my 2R profit target all out. And then what I did was I continued, because this seemed like it could be potentially a runner to the downside for the whole day. I watched it for another setup as a trend continuation. So as you can see, it came back and didn't quite, I guess you could say it came back to test VWAP, although VWAP really isn't a level. It just tells you where that line between a good buy or a good sell would theoretically be for a longer term trend play. But it did come back there, and I was watching it after that point to see when it was going to continue moving downward and and continue the trend. So I waited for the break of this level here, and as you can see, I went short over here. Maybe it was a little bit premature, because on I guess a really solid trend continuation play for me is to wait for the price to come back and actually wick off of breakthrough and come back or test the 20 EMA here on the 1 minute chart, or if I'm looking at a 5 minute chart, same strategy on the 5 minute chart. This time I didn't really do that, so I guess you could say this was a little bit premature. But so after this entry, it came back up. I thought it might come back up to that 20, but it didn't, and I kept my stop loss, which was just above the 20 over here. I gave it a little bit of breathing room over this particular wick here, and then it was a slow grind down. It really wasn't an aggressive move down like this in this 1 minute candle here. Usually what you'll find is it does an aggressive move down, a bit of a pullback, and then another aggressive move down. But it still did move in this direction. Because it was a bit of a slow grind, I had to be patient, but I also ended up taking some partials because I was already profitable overall on this particular trade, and I wanted to lock in some profits. I saw that it looked like it was having trouble, at this level here. It seemed to be using it as resistance, but I thought it might break above that as the 20 SMA was coming in here. So I took this partial here, which was a partial at 1R, and then it pushed down, and this particular level here, I'm trying to remember. Oh, sorry. Yes. So there was a large number of bids at this particular level here, which is why I also I took a 50% partial here. It was 50% of my actual initial position. So that was a significant piece of my position. And then I waited I wanted to see if it was going, there was another large bid at 212, and I was going to wait for there, but my position size, my remaining share size was so small that realistically speaking, we were kind of hovering around this area here, and it just didn't make any sense to hang on to it just for what would have been another about $15 in profit. So I went ahead and as you can see here, I went ahead and took got all out right there, and that put me at just over 3.3 R profit for the day, and that was it. I called it a day at that point. I didn't want to put anything else at risk for the day. I felt that it was a solid start to the week, and yeah, I didn't want to get too greedy. So that really was my day. I'm very pleased with it. You know, solid start to the week, and here's the P&L. As you can see, I only traded Boeing, and that's it. Sorry, I feel like I'm rambling here, just trying to find other things, but I don't think there's anything more to be said here. I think I came into the day with a game plan. Today, I definitely feel I executed it, and because of that, I came out with results that I wanted. So I hope everybody else had a wonderful trading day. I hope you hit your goals, and if you didn't, it's all good. It's just the beginning of the week. We have the rest of the week to you know, take profits and get back to green if that's what happened for you. In any case, thanks so much for tuning in. This is AJ on Day Trader Boom or Bust, signing out until the next recap. Cheers.